little hack for you. So what I did is, my screws are too short, so I drilled it out a real fat hole about halfway down, so that way it sinks down halfway and I can actually get these things to come together. This is some scrap wood I'm just doing for a flower bed. Just cut 2 2x6 in half, slap it all together, fill it full of dirt. So I'm looking here at this wheat that I'm growing, and this structure here I think is for the detriment. I don't think this is helping it with the shade we have in here, and I think this is unneeded. What I'm going to do here is take this out, put a little bit of a wooden garden bed down, fill in the edges if need be, and this is going to be my second compost pile. That way I fill one up and then I stop and start filling the second one. So that way we can go into like a 3-month rotation, 6-month rotation. That way I can be using compost as I'm throwing compost in. Right now, I'm just throwing the fresh stuff on top and trying to till it in, but it's not all the way composted every time I try and use it. So we're gonna get a little smarter, and this is what we're gonna do today. So let's go ahead and move this here. Okay, good. Now we're going to get onto this dolly. Okay. Let's flip it. It's wild because there's 2 different types of grass here. And if you look, the only difference you can tell is barely with the color of the grass. And all of this, I'm gonna give to my rabbits. But I'm looking at this and it looks to be a little smaller than my other wheat that I have growing. It seems like, okay, I have 3 different spots. This one's kind of small. That is really big. And then this one over on this side is in between the 2. And I was trying to figure out what the difference was and what I do wrong. I do a little analysis here. And my thought process is I put a lot more fertilizer in this one here. This one I amended a lot more. This in here, and it's a lot bigger. And you can see a lot more success, about double the size. So certain crops need more or less fertilizer. It's not like a one size fits all with this stuff. So I'm learning as I go. I'm trying to get basically my group of crops I'm gonna grow. I'm pretty stoked about my wheat popping up here. Out here in the desert, you get pretty excited when you see something green because most of it's all brown and dead. So that is just time of year, which was I planted it in January, as crazy as that sounds. And then you harvest it in the middle of spring, you know, right at the beginning of summer is when you harvest it, and then you're planting other things at that time after that in the same spot. So that's something that I had to learn. Is there's actually 2 growing seasons that kind of go here in Arizona. There's what you're growing in the summer, there's what you're growing in the winter. And honestly, the winter, I was surprised about how much food I really could grow. There were just all kinds of crazy vegetables and this and greens, things that normally wouldn't do so well, do amazing in the wintertime out here. What I'm going to do here is the exact same thing I got going on the side. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up with dirt a little bit higher, So that way they go right at the edge and they can't really get in. I'm not really worried about too much of anything getting in here. And what I'm going to do also is I'll put another mouse trap across the back here. And what these do, these attract the mice. So what I'm going to do here is have one side going. So I'm going to fill this all the way up, stop, come over here. Then I'm going to wait a couple months, and then that'll be all composted down, and I can have this cycle. So I just planted my sweet sorghum today. Pretty excited because there's not a lot of things that you think of sweet and you think of healthy, nutritious, vitamin rich. That's what sweet sorghum is. That's what I'm going to do with that syrup I'm going to make. And you know, agave, you know, that takes a long time. I ain't growing no coconuts out here for coconut sugar. I can't do sugarcane, but I can do sweet sorghum. So that's what I'm going to do out here. I'm going to grow some sweet sorghum, and that is going to allow me to able to have almost like a sugarcane where you kind of bite on the stick and have it and just, you know, and chew on it and get it like basically like a delicious popsicle for me and the children. And then I can also cook it down, have some sweet sorghum syrup in my, you know, oatmeal, your coffee, put it over your pancakes, you know what I mean? It's like little grommet in here was all started to get tore up. I greased it down in here, greased it on the back side. We're gonna put a new seal right here on it, and then we're gonna put this plate on it, and we're gonna see if we're gonna get this thing to work again. Because a lot of times you're constantly fixing it like this. Get that down flat. That's to make a seal so it won't leak. That's gonna go. I'm gonna start each one of these out. All right. Okay, thank you, Richie. So we're gonna screw all these in, and then we're gonna try and make sure that this pump is still working. One, done. Done. All right, Rich, give her a whirl, plug it in. Okay, yeah, that was it. Now we're cooking with fire. Unplug it. Over here, next one. In there, Joey, over here. In there. Good job, buddy. So let's go check out these fruit trees. Come on in, let's check it out, folks. So we got the pomegranates, which are popping back. Now, something I did with my pomegranates a little different than some people. What I did is I trimmed it down to 2 major stalks here, and then I trimmed it up. I want more of a tree than a bush, so that's what I did. I trimmed it up really well in the winter. It's all popping back now. These do amazing. You can see by the other angle here, this is almost like a little bonsai orchard because I really am in a small area of my shade, and I really do want to try keep it netted a little bit. I just really try having this area just right and tight. So this here, and this is my peach, which is just starting to get little buds on a few branches here. Well, this one is more than that one, but they're having little buds. They're starting to come in, just starting to sprout back. So this is now coming back to life. I trimmed it pretty hard, trimmed it back, and I kind of topped it on a few spots here because I don't want just this thing going, you know, 20 feet high. I want to keep it right and tight. So I trimmed it in pretty nice, trimmed it up on the sides here. So the peaches are doing great. If you get a new desert orchard, new desert garden, I think these peaches might actually just do fine even without the shade. They do really, really well. The pears definitely need some shade. The grapes are just do great. I mean, they probably don't need it. Those who caught the live this morning heard what I was talking about. And this is our little citrus here, a little mandarin. And this bad boy is just in the evening sun, getting cooked, and it's doing great. It looks amazing. It's doing amazing. I'm actually just starting to cover in flowers. It's night and day difference in that fig I tried putting. It really is about plant selection. You got to be careful about where you're at. And even if something says it's the right zoning, doesn't mean it'll always work out. Because zoning is just how cold it'll get. It's not telling you how much wind you're going to get, how much rainfall you're going to get, how hot it's going to get. It's just it'll get that cold, which gives you a roundabout guideline, but it's not an exact science. When the foliage gets really, really tight, and it's not able to have some air or if it gets really, really fast growth, I might get some aphids over here. But what's great is I'm back to a lot more soap in my water because I'm using my dishwater again, and it's really fighting back on those aphids I had over here. So Richie's here spraying out all that kale and really getting rid of all those aphids. Doesn't hurt the plant at all, and it really works wonders. Blueberries are starting to actually come back. We actually got some new growth on that one over there. I'm watering them pretty good. The blackberries that I tried doing for the second time with blackberries, they cook. They're a dead stick. And I'm having zero success with blackberries. I'm having a little bit of success here with the blueberries. Remember, Joey, 1, 2, 3. Don't run them over, okay, buddy? All right, thank you. But you live and you learn. Same thing I was saying about zoning. You just gotta try it out. You know, little sampler test of something. If something works, just build. You know, if one does well, go out and buy 100, but don't buy the 100 in the first place. If that makes sense. Thanks. Make an example here of things talking to me. You see all these carrots right here? See how they're kind of flat into the ground here? That means they're saying, I'm thirsty. I am just a little bit in need of some moisture. These ones droop just a little bit. So these guys are just drooping down, drooping down, drooping down. These ones are a little more straight over here. You keep going. Now we're drooping a little bit, drooping a little bit, drooping a little bit. And you can see those ones are drooping. Those back ones are drooping real bad, as in that gets all day sun. Like this one's right here, it'll just torque for 12 hours a day. That sorghum, I set my hose in the dirt, and then all these little rocks came up through the line and started clogging into my hose. So that was my bad, Rich. Sorry about that. Back to what you were doing, son. Get the wheat over here in the back, then start on the carrots and go down the line. We have some carrots that are just sprouting. Don't go too hard on them, okay? Just go real light. You don't want to uproot them, okay?
Okay.
All right. Something I didn't know until I grew it. This is a Chinese reddish, which the flowers looking like they're pink, called light purple, whatnot. And then over here, it looks like the ones over here are a little bit more white. All of them have a little pink to them, but the Chinese reddish, they got a lot more pink to the flowers. I guess it just has to do with, selective breeding and the variety here. But that's pretty neat. Radishes really do have beautiful flowers, especially these pink ones over here. It's pretty cool.